The new administration is pushing draconian farm controls through Congress as fast as possible and has coordinated the bills so there will be no debate. Opponents say they have less than 2 weeks to stop farming bills that would put organic farms out of business. The group Democracy in Action says the newfound safety bills were sponsored by agribusiness giants Monsanto, Cargill, Tyson's, and ADM. Under the bills, the Department of Agriculture would be able to order organic farmers what to feed their animals, how to medically treat them, and what toxic sprays to use. There would also be penalties beyond the ability of most small farmers to pay. Buried in the bills are regulations that criminalize all aspects of organic farming by listing them as sources of seed contamination. The bills would industrialize farms, force farmers to buy chemicals and drugs, and or face $500,000 in penalties.
The feeling is definitely there. It's a new morning in America. Fresh, vital. The old cynicism is gone. We have faith in our leaders. We're optimistic as to what becomes of it all. It really boils down to our ability to accept. We don't need pessimism.
But in recent years, we've seen a number of problems with the food making its way to our kitchen tables. In 2006, it was contaminated spinach. In 2008, it was salmonella in peppers and possibly tomatoes. And just this year, bad peanut products led to hundreds of illnesses and cost 9 people their lives. A painful reminder of how tragic the consequences can be when food producers act irresponsibly and government is unable to do its job. Worse, these incidents reflect a troubling trend that's seen the average number of outbreaks from contaminated produce and other foods grow to nearly 350 a year, up from 100 a year in the early 1990s. Part of the reason is that many of the laws and regulations governing food safety in America have not been updated since they were written in the time of Teddy Roosevelt. It's also because our system of inspection and enforcement is spread out so widely among so many people that it's difficult for different parts of our government to share information. Their critical work, and the critical work of the FDA they lead, will be part of a larger effort taken up by a new food safety working group I'm creating. This working group will bring together cabinet secretaries and senior officials to advise me on how we can upgrade our food safety laws for the 21st century, foster coordination throughout our government, and ensure that we are not just designing laws that will keep the American people safe, but enforcing them. And I expect this group to report back to me with recommendations as soon as possible. As part of our commitment to public health, our Agriculture Department is closing a loophole in the system to ensure that diseased cows don't find their way into the food supply. And we're also strengthening our food safety system and modernizing our labs with a $1 billion investment, a portion of which will go towards significantly increasing the number of food inspectors, helping ensure that the FDA has the staff and support they need to protect the food we eat. In the end, food safety is something I take seriously, not just as your president, but as a parent. When I heard peanut products were being contaminated earlier this year, I immediately thought of my 7-year-old daughter, Sasha, who has peanut butter sandwiches for lunch probably 3 times a week. No parent should have to worry that their child is going to get sick from their lunch, just as no family should have to worry that the medicines they buy will cause them harm. Protecting the safety of our food and drugs is one of the most fundamental responsibilities government has. And with the outstanding team I am announcing today, it is a responsibility that I intend to uphold in the months and years to come. Thanks.
I have no doubt in my mind that this legislation was heavily influenced and probably even written by lobbyists from huge food producers. Here's a couple reasons why I think so. Firstly, the complete and utter media blackout of this legislation. You would think something this important that would affect this many people's lives would actually be on TV at least more than once. Okay, secondly, Representative Rosa L. DeLauro, Democrat from Connecticut, is the woman who sponsored the Food Safety Modernization Act of 2009, H.R. 875. Okay, her husband, Stan Greenberg, has Monsanto as a client. She received $180,000 in donations from agribusiness PACs. She's pals with Rahm Emanuel. Okay, he's the guy, he's White House Chief of Staff. He decides who has access to the president. Okay, considering we have a Democratic House and Senate, this is very dangerous. Okay, this bill has a very high likelihood of passing unless we resist it somehow. If you're actually interested in helping me, there's links in the info section of this video. You can learn more about the bill and its specifics, and it's a lot worse than I'm actually saying here. To boil the bill down in its most simplest of terms, it basically sets health and safety standards that are so high that small farmers can't afford it, therefore getting rid of most organic farms. It also establishes a complete new body of government to go out and police food. That's right, armies of guys with clipboards going and randomly searching all farmers' equipment and making sure that they're living up to the standards that are set by big agribusiness. This is nothing more than most egregious tyranny, and it must be resisted.